Hey, Donna Price here. I'm wondering if you've been asking yourself this question. Should I throw in the towel? Should I give up? Should I give this business away, close it, get rid of it, stop trying to do it? It's a great question to be asking yourself. So let's look at a few things because operating a business is not an easy task. And for most business owners that I talk to, it's more involved than they anticipated. You got into business because you loved what you do. And then there's all this other business stuff that you have to do as part of operating a business. So it's normal for you to think about throwing in the towel. I've always relied on four principles or values: commitment, perseverance, risk, and passion. I think of them more as principles than values, but it takes all of these to make it in business. If you're considering going into business, if you don't have these traits or characteristics, you should throw in the towel before you start because they are essential. Once you're in business, you have to keep going back to them, right? It takes commitment. It takes perseverance. You've got to keep working it. It you're taking a huge risk by going into business, right? It takes the willingness to risk and it takes passion. So let's take a look at these. A long time ago, I learned about commitment when I was rock climbing. And in my life, if you know me at all, you'll know that I use metaphors all the time. And I've learned things from some of the lessons in my life. But in this rock climbing, I was high off the ground. Um, as you tell stories, they always get bigger. So at one point, I was hundreds of feet off the ground, but in reality, it was probably like 30 or 40 feet. Um, and I was on the face of the rock, and I got stuck. Now, when you're on rock, it's not the same as going to a rock gym where you've got these big bomber holds to grab hold of. Sometimes you're holding onto little teeny crystals. And I could feel the next place for my foot, but I couldn't get my foot actually on it because it was like just out of reach. And I could see where to put my hand, but I couldn't reach it without letting go of where I was. So I'm like precariously perched on the side of the mountain. I am up there for a long time because I am searching for something like safe and easy within reach. My belayer, who's the person at the bottom of the climb holding my life, holding the rope, which is my life, was being like super patient. And after I had spent quite a long time looking for all the possibilities and didn't find anything, he said, "You have to commit to the move. You just have to go for it." So what that meant was I had to let go of the safety of where I was and reach out, take a risk, and make a commitment to making it to that next hold. Because as soon as I put my weight on my foot, it was going to be a solid hold. But for that brief second, I had to be like in the air, right? Letting go before I reached the next place. So I took a deep breath and I did it. And I made the move. And I learned an important lesson. I learned that you have to commit to the move. And I use this lesson in my business all the time. It's why it's one of the principles for my business is commitment. You have to be like all in. You have to commit to the move. And so I tell you that story so that maybe you can picture that. Maybe you've got a similar lesson in your life that you can use. I see metaphors all over the place. And even in this, there's the metaphor of taking a risk, staying focused and on the path, making the commitment. So lots of ways that you could interpret this one little climb up the face of a rock in Joshua Tree National Monument. When I question my business, I go back to the rocks in Joshua Tree and remember that it takes total commitment to be successful in business and that I have to commit to the move. So the next is perseverance. I learned this lesson when I was biking across the country from Maine to Oregon. Now, that in itself takes some perseverance, and You can read all about it in my book, Launching Your Dreams, but basic, like give you a couple details. We biked for 90 days. It was just around 5,000 miles total because we left from Portland, Maine. So we did the longest possible route, I think. But the real lesson, and there were a ton of lessons all along the road. But one of the real lessons came in Wyoming in the Bighorn Mountains, which are part of the Rocky Mountains. So no matter how you bike across the United States, if you're going from west to east or east to west, at some point somewhere, you've got to cross the Rocky Mountains. And to me, the Bighorn Mountains look like my best option. The climb was 30 or so miles long. And on the map, it looked like kind of a slow, gradual climb. It didn't look like too steep. And for me, it meant that I was biking between 3 and 6 miles per hour for like 8 hours, I think, is what it took. And what I learned was that no matter how slow I was going, I had to keep pushing that pedal to make it to the top of the mountain. And that each pedal push, even at 3 miles an hour, was pushing me forward. Perseverance. So there's times in business where it feels like you're climbing this huge mountain, like the Rocky Mountains. And sometimes the mountain's not as steep and the climb isn't as long. And some days it's a really, really long climb. But I also know that it is perseverance that keeps you moving or keeps that business moving forward. One of the tools that I use in my business is what I call an accomplishment list or an accomplishment journal. And I use it because there's days when you're climbing that mountain or putting out fires that you just get like overwhelmed and you can't really see all that you've accomplished. I talk to business owners and I'll ask them, what'd you accomplish? And they'll say, I didn't get anything done. And I know I've had those days, but when you start writing things down in your accomplishment journal, you start realizing that you did get things done and what you did was amazing. And that list can give you momentum and energize you to keep you moving forward. And next is risk. Business is a risk. You're stepping out of your comfort zone. Probably. For most of us, we've been taught that you need to have a job and you're stepping into being an entrepreneur. And not everyone can take that risk and live with that risk. Sometimes the risk lasts for a long time before the payoff comes. So you're putting yourself out there and you're not really on solid ground. So you have to know what you can tolerate and what your life can tolerate. When you're in business, you're in the driver's seat and you are making the decisions about what is acceptable. It's vital that you're looking at your entire business. You need to have your finger on the pulse of your organization in several areas. I say vision, strategy, staff, and money. But there's probably a few more too. You need to have a clear and compelling vision that helps you to stay energized and draws you into the future. Be clear on what you're creating so that you don't get distracted and pulled off track because there are opportunities flying in all the time. Create strategies that are going to help you accomplish that vision. Keep your strategies in front of you and know where you are with each strategy. I see so many strategic plans that get put aside and never referenced after they're created. Make your strategic plan a living, breathing document. You need to know your numbers. This is one area that I was never really very good at. My business did not start taking off until I put my finger on the pulse of the money. So you need to know what's coming in and what's going out. You need to know what it takes to make you profitable, and you need to know where you are right now and how far away you are from profitability. And then you need to know the 5-step profit formula for making the changes that you need to change. And that 5-step profit formula is more leads, more conversions, higher pricing, more transactions, and more profits. If you have staff, you need to know what's going on with your staff. Know their vision, their passion, and stay in touch with what's going on the floor. There's incredible information there. So what do you do when the pulse is low? This is perhaps the hardest question you will ever answer. You need to make the decision, and you need to rely on several factors. First, listen to your own wisdom. Many times we know what we need to do, and we ignore that inner voice that's telling us what we should do, right? We get further down the road, and in hindsight, it's like crystal clear. We're like, well, duh. And then we even acknowledge that we know. Listening to yourself and your feeling and your gut is important. But you also have to be a wise business owner. And that means that you have to take a look at the facts in front of you. You've been paying attention to your business. You know its current state and you know its growth. Evaluate your current status, your growth history, and your growth potential. What is the current status of the organization? Are you still investing money in it? Has it been 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? Can you afford to continue investing? Is it just a pit that is just drawing money down into it? Does the business fit your life plan? And is it self-supporting? What's the growth history? Has the business been growing, adding new clients, new customers? Is that growth consistent, predictable? Is the product or service that you're offering, is that still relevant or in demand? And have you evaluated the potential growth of the product or service? Do you know your market? If your business is struggling, have you exhausted all your marketing strategies to bring in new customers or repeat customers? As the business owner considering throwing in the towel, you must not leave any stone unturned. If there is a marketing strategy that you haven't tried because you're personally uncomfortable with it, now's the time to get comfortable. For instance, if you are not tech savvy and don't like being on the internet, you have to have an internet presence. You can't be in business these days without an internet presence. And you need a social media presence. So, are there things that you should be outsourcing that will free you up to do the sales side or development side of the business? As the owner or CEO, your role is to build the business and develop the business. This may mean networking, connecting, landing new clients, new investors, new products, services. You know what business building looks like for your business. What are your business development strategies? Do you have the time to carry them out? If not, can you delegate so that you do have the time that you need? If you're spending valuable time doing non-essential tasks, then you need to reorder what you do so that you can do the essential and fundamental task of business building or business development. Make a list each day of the essential money-focused tasks and do them first. Delegate or outsource the other tasks. Many business owners have discovered the magic of outsourcing. Suddenly, you have the time to make more money. You have handed off jobs, you're paying money to have someone else do them, and you're making more money. How sweet is that? What can you hand off? Now's the time to figure that out. And what about passion? Are you clear what your passion is? What your purpose is? Fuel your momentum and keep on your path with your passion and purpose. Use them to inspire and motivate you. But wait, you still have the towel in your hand. You are still unsure whether you should hold it or throw it. So far, we've taken a look at your business owner characteristics of commitment, perseverance, risk-taking, and passion. You've evaluated the current state of your organization and the future growth potential. You've looked at all of your marketing and sales strategies to be sure that you are doing everything you can do to bring in more clients, more business. And finally, you've taken a look at yourself to determine what other things you can do to grow the business and what you can outsource or delegate to free you up to do that. After taking a look at all of this and listening to your inner wise voice, it should be pretty clear what to do. You know what to do. Hard decision, hardest ever, but solely yours to make. Whatever you decide to do is important to do it with style, with grace, and with the utmost professionalism. Do not burn bridges. Do not do anything to harm your reputation or that of your staff, your vendors, your board, or others. If you throw in the towel, make sure it is clean, that it shines brightly and provides everyone involved the most potential for future success possible. If you have decided not to throw in the towel and you are ready to build success and grow your business, then you're ready for my book, Business Profit Breakthroughs. I encourage you to go download it today. You can find it at crcbusinessupdate.com/book. Inside, you're going to find the 8 profitability acceleration strategies that I use with my clients and in my business to help grow the business, market the business, and profit from the business. Take a look at it now. Download it. It's free. It's going to cost you your name and your email, and that's it. crcbusinessupdate.com/book, and make it happen in your business.